living organism consumes food to turn it into energy for the body. Animals and humans, but does that include plants? Yes, it does. And we know this process well. It's called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis came from the word photo, which means light, and synthesis, which means to put together. In Greek, the word photosynthesis means to put together with the help of light. Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants and certain other organisms transform light energy into chemical energy. During photosynthesis in green plants, light energy is captured and used to convert water, carbon dioxide, and minerals into oxygen and energy-rich organic compounds. It would be impossible to overestimate the importance of photosynthesis in the maintenance of life on Earth. If photosynthesis ceased, there would soon be little food or other organic matter on Earth. Most organisms would disappear, and in time, Earth's atmosphere would become nearly devoid of gaseous oxygen. The only organisms able to exist under such conditions would be the chemosynthetic bacteria, which can utilize the chemical energy of certain inorganic compounds, and thus are not dependent on the conversion of light energy. In order to carry out photosynthesis, green plants need several ingredients. Number one is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the pigment in plants that makes them green. It is essential to the photosynthetic process. This chemical is produced naturally by all green plants, and its role in photosynthesis is to absorb light. Number two is sunlight. The process cannot work without energy input, and this comes from the sun. The sun starts the first reaction in the photosynthesis, which is known as the light-dependent process. But we'll get to that later. Number three is water. Water, as any gardener knows, the plants take in the water from the ground through the roots. The water travels up the stem of the plant through a complex transport system and arrives in the leaves to be used as raw material during photosynthesis. Number four and the last one is carbon dioxide. This gas is abundantly available in the atmosphere around plants. Most plants have a protective waxy layer over the leaves which prevents them from drying out. Normally, this would also prevent a gas, such as carbon dioxide, from entering the leaf. But the leaf also has special openings called stomata that allows the gas to enter the leaf cells. Once photosynthesis has taken place, the oxygen produced also leaves the cell via the stomata. Carbon dioxide is bonded with the hydrogen produced in the first light-dependent process to make carbohydrates. Photosynthesis has two parts called the light-dependent reaction and the light-independent reaction, also called as the Calvin cycle.
What is light-dependent reaction? So in the light-dependent reaction, photosynthetic pigments transform light energy into chemical energy, which plants needed to grow. Where did it take place? So where in plants, but I mean where? So the light-independent process takes place in the chloroplast thylakoid membrane. During this process, the light energy is transformed into chemical energy. So the process are plant chlorophyll absorbs sunlight and passes it into photosystem, which is responsible for photosynthesis. Water creates both hydrogen and electrons as well as oxygen. The electrons and protons are needed to make NADPH and ATP. Energy storage and electrons carrier or donor molecules respectively are ATP and NADPH. In the following stage of photosynthesis, both ATP and NADPH are needed or required. A mechanism called photolysis allows the chlorophyll molecule to reclaim an electron from a water molecule, releasing the oxygen. So, the overall function of the light-dependent reaction is to transform solar energy into chemical energy in the form of NADPH and ATP, which are employed in the light-independent reaction and the power of the assembly of sugar molecules. To create NADPH and ATP, protein complexes and pigments molecules collaborate. So, what is the importance of light-dependent reaction? So, the purpose of it is to capture solar energy and break down water molecule to form ATP and NADPH. The light-independent process utilizes the two energy-storing molecules, which is NADPH and ATP. Yeah, all about light-dependent reaction.
What is Calvin cycle? Calvin cycle is a part of photosynthesis, the process plants and other autotrophs use to create nutrients from sunlight and carbon dioxide. The Calvin cycle is a process that plants and algae use to turn carbon dioxide from the air into sugar. The food autotrophs need to grow. Where does the Calvin cycle takes place? Unlike the light reaction, which takes place in the thylakoid membrane, the reactions of the Calvin cycle takes place in the stroma, the inner space of chloroplast. What are the inputs and the products of Calvin cycle? The inputs into the Calvin cycle are NADPH, ATP, and carbon dioxide. The products of the Calvin cycle are NADP plus ADP and the sugar. What happens in the Calvin cycle? The Calvin cycle is a process that plants and algae use to turn carbon dioxide from the air into sugar. The food autotrophs need to grow. Even though Calvin cycle or light-independent reaction from the word itself, independent, it does not need any sunlight from the sun. Of course, to transform carbon dioxide to oxygen and to make food. The Calvin cycle has four main steps: carbon fixation, reduction phase, carbohydrate formation, and regeneration phase. So what is carbon fixation? In stage 1, the enzyme Rubisco incorporates carbon dioxide into an organic molecule 3-PGA. In stage 2, the organic molecule is reduced using electrons supplied by NADPH. This process is called carbon fixation because of carbon dioxide is fixed from an inorganic form into an organic molecule. What is reduction phase? In the second stage of the Calvin cycle, the 3-PGA molecules created through carbon fixation are converted into molecules of a simple sugar, glycerate 3-phosphate or G3P. This stage uses from ATP and NADPH created in the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis. Next, what is reduction phase? In the second stage of the Calvin cycle, the 3-PGA molecules created through carbon fixation are converted into molecules of a simple sugar, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate or G3P. This stage uses energy from ATP and NADPH created in the light-dependent reaction of photosynthesis. Last, what is the importance of Calvin cycle? I think Calvin cycle is super important for the existence of other organisms in this planet because even though there are not enough or plenty of sunlight that the plants need to make food, it can create on its own because of Calvin cycle itself.